Welcome back, and today we're going to be looking at the brand new Kaiser Brat. This is an in-house design. Your in-house designer Azo, he has a lot of popular models out for Kaiser, and I'm always excited whenever he has something new dropping. This one comes in at $89, and it's a full-size EDC knife at about 8 inches overall length, and you got about a 3.5-inch blade, so should be able to get most jobs done. And let's take a look at this blade. You got a nice classic drop point blade with a beautiful stone wash finish. I love when Kaiser does their stone wash. 154 cm stainless steel, and Kaiser does a pretty good job with their 154. It's easy to sharpen, well balanced steel, and it holds a good edge, and it's very, very easy to strap back up. It's got a nice top swedge that kind of thins out that tip, but it's not overly thin or anything. There's still some meat behind there. You got a nice long row of functional jimping that does its job. You have a well-executed sharpening notch that should give you a lot of sharpening before you start to widen up in the back. You see the plunge is right there where my fingernail is. You have a high flat grind that comes down to around 15 thousandths behind the edge. So this thing should slice very well. Let's find out. This is one of the sharpest Kaiser knives that I've ever gotten out of box, and even though I would have much rather have the tip on this drop point be in line with the pivot or below, it still performed really well during the cardboard. It was moving very fast through it, and it started off with a ton of bite. That's something I could feel. It was a very sticky edge, and yeah, I can't wait to see how it does later on. Didn't have any problems with getting hung up in the choil or anything, and I was thoroughly impressed at this point. Now that could all change in a heartbeat, but Kaiser usually does a really good job with their 154 cm, and it drops back very easy as well. Now we're going to test the ergos and how that edge wants to bite into this piece of birch. I already knew right off the back it was probably going to be very comfortable because it has a little extra thickness in the scales at like 0.55, so that's a little above average, so it's going to fill out the hand nicely, and the scales are contoured, so it was nice, very nice in the hand. No hot spots to speak of. I was kind of worried that the milling they had on the back side of the scales would be uncomfortable, but no, nothing at all. It was a very neutral handle that fills out the hand nicely, and I was able to get a ton of power behind my cuts and that hammer grip, and blade shape was excellent for this type of work. I could have done this for a lot longer, and my hands already hurt right now, so I was able to do it without any problems. Now we're going to move to the 1/2 inch twisted sisal rope, and this is where I can tell how much bite the edge has, just that aggression to it, and man, oh man, did it have some aggression to it. It was push cutting majority of the rope, and it was very comfortable in that pinch grip. The blade shape is perfect for cutting on a flat surface. You can use that belly to just push down into what you're doing, kind of like a rocking motion, and it was doing it without a problem. I was actually pretty surprised on how easily it was going through the rope at this point, and it felt like it remained nice and aggressive all the way to the last piece of rope I cut. We ended up making 50 cuts before I run out of rope, and I think that is excellent, especially for 154 cm. Like I said before, it's so easy to strap back up, so it would be nice. I mean, it's really nice whenever you have that ability. Now, even though I won't be able to get that tip on what I'm cutting, that belly, man, it was still nice and sharp. It was passing through the material nicely, and it's basically popping everything. Goes through the tubing absolutely perfectly. That belly helps out a lot, and I'm kind of mind blown at this point on how excellent this knife is doing. You know, I hate whenever I get a knife that's dull, but this one, not only was it sharp, it has a nice bit of toothiness to it, and just look how fast it's going through the denim. Very nicely done. This one gets an A++ from me, especially at the $89 price point. All right, let's test that edge out. Yeah, still nice. Now let's take a look at the action deployment of the knife. This is a flipper knife. It's got some jimping there, and it rockets out. It's on ceramic ball bearings, so it has a very, very smooth action, especially being a button lock. Once you release that button, it is a free dropper. It also has nice acoustics once you flip it. Because of the handle being kind of hollowed out like that, it makes a nice thwack sound, at least mine does, and it comes out very, very fast. All right, let's take a look at the handle area. Now, this is the star of the show for me. This is something you don't normally see, and what I'm talking about is the handle's an integral one piece of material. So there's no seam right here. So what they have to do is it starts out as a pretty big block of G10, and they have to slowly mill out all the way and then mill out all the inside to be able to fit the blade, and everything has to work perfectly or it's not going to function properly. So it's a risk, you know. If you mess up anything in there, you got to scrap the G10. Now the G10 is not super expensive, but time on a mill is expensive. So if you're having to spend a lot of time milling out, you know, that usually raises the price on things. Not to mention the scale, the G10 is contoured, very nicely done. It's got nice milling pattern on the back side of it that looks nice, offers a little bit of grip there. The top of the G10 is smooth, but I had no problems with it feeling like it was sliding or anything in the hand, and that flipper acts as a guard, so if you had to puncture something, you should not slide up on that blade at all. Being that it is an integral, the only screws you have is the pivot screw, which is a Torx T8, and the screws that are holding this little bitty metal piece right there that's housing the button lock, and those are T6, and you have screws for the pocket clip, which is also T6. Now, one thing that I wish they would have done differently is made this left-handed accessible also, because it's a button lock. You can actuate it easily left-handed, but it's right-hand tip-up carry only. They did an excellent job of insetting that clip into the frame. Being that it is contoured scales, it does sit up a little bit proud right here, but had no issues with that at all. The screws are countersunk in there, very nicely done. I like this clip. It sits nice and deep in the pocket. And this fairly neutral handle, there's no crazy choils or anything, fills out the hand nicely. The cutting portion of this video, it was super, super comfortable. The extra thickness filled out the hand nicely. There was no hot spots to speak of. No matter which grip you hold this knife, it is fantastic. So excellent job there. Now let's take a look at the lock. You got a button lock, like I said, on here. It does have a semi-recessed area, so you don't accidentally disengage it. Once you let that go, like I said, it is swinging down nicely. The lockup on it, mine is bank vault. No play in any direction, rock solid. Now, I don't love button locks because that can be different on every knife. Kizer usually does a pretty good job being consistent, so hopefully if you get one, it would be as solid as mine as well. Now, even though this is an 8-inch knife, it's actually fairly lightweight because of the integral and not having any stainless liners in there. So it's coming in at 3.64 ounces, outstanding for this size knife. Now for some quick size comparisons, we have the Ontario Rat Model 1 and 2. Very similar in overall length to the Koupe Momentum, the Bestech Man Ronin. Also very similar in overall length to the Kizer Kobold 2 and the CJRB Lago. All right, nitpicks and complaints. I really only have two things. I wish it would have been tapped for lefties as well, and I would have liked to see that bent down so it's not raised up there, but it's just a nitpick. It's not hurting the functionality of the knife. My overall thoughts on the knife: for $89, getting an integral frame, 154 cm that performs nicely, it's nice and comfortable, excellent action. I think it's a no-brainer, especially if you're a right-handed person. Hopefully they do something for the lefties here, but I think it's an outstanding bargain. You're not going to find an integral for less than that. I don't think. I don't even think the Reich integral was this inexpensive, but excellent job. Well done. I'm excited. This one made me excited as far as, you know, how well it performed and the overall feel in hand. So it gets an A++ from me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.